Time for another recap. Let's get into it. Man, this was awesome. 50 SMA decimation, okay? We were looking at this in two separate manners. If you look at our prediction videos, let's get to the moving averages real fast. I'll do a bear chart real quick. There we go. So you can see the moving averages. These algos love this. Whenever we have a break, right? And our two scenarios, I'll cover real fast right now. If you missed the other videos, I don't want to go back. We said that we were going to get a pressure down, right? So a gap and go to the downside. We were going to lose that 50 very easily. Once we open up under the 50 SMA and the red here, we're going to come down to the 100. The 100 shied, right? So price action did not run into the 100 EMA, which is the green line right here on the daily chart, but in turn looped anyway. So that left an open tag for the algos that does not like to do those retraces when they jump back up. So our two determining short plays and long plays were just that. We had a opportunity to follow a no tag 100 EMA to option one, and that was the 50 SMA rejection short, or option two, gap up, hold the 50 SMA and come up to another lower high territory, right? Up here, best case scenario, we went over it, we would have been coming into the gap, right? And this is what we were talking about. Best case scenario here, where if we would have gapped opened, held, NVIDIA would have saved the stock market. We knew that wasn't going to happen. We also shorted that today. We'll go over that. Very easy play in the confirmations here. So now this abrupt rejection, you shy the 100 EMA, you hit the 50 SMA daily, red dashed again, and boom, you're going to plow right into that 100 EMA. So we're going to get continuation now through today and through the rest of the weekend. Now, we had an amazing short play here and long play all through. We did 4,607.72 cents today on futures and just under 4K on NVIDIA short, one of a huge home run day. So let's talk about it. The 50 SMA, we're on the 5-minute chart. We're going to switch charts here in a second, but I want you to see right here, this is the 50 SMA, okay? Now, we have a really important weekly Fibonacci from last week's body that we're going to bring up here in a second, but I do want you to see this 50 SMA daily right here. That is inside the 5-minute chart. We have special codes that give us that. So we came down here in the pre-market, little tag, pre's do not matter. Came back up, and this is where all the bearish confirmation was right here. We'll go over the oscillators as well in a second. But notice the 50 and the algo. We pointed this one out right at open saying there's the algo. That's a switch hit. These algorithms will pin you. Anything over or under the body, which we read in the algorithms, this will persist. Now look where that resistance is. Directly into perfect price action drop. So now that 50 SMA daily and the algo, look at this. Bounce, hold, snap. Right? So we longed right here, obviously. That's yesterday's highs in the orange dotted line right here. So instant move up. And I told everybody to take profit right here, 100 EMA, 5-minute on deck. Now let's look at our bearish confirmations. Now we had a couple of really strong moves here. And of course, I got out of the short very early, but called down to the 10 SMA daily. If it does not hold the 10 SMA daily, we will not be going long. It will panic through. Let's take a look at the 10 SMA and the teal dash line right here. What happened? Confirmational trade. Broke. No support tag, bounced yesterday's lows, tag, this is the 10 SMA right here, confirmation, boom, and lost yesterday's lows and panicked down, prior Jackson Hole, right? And that's going to be a huge catalyst for tomorrow, obviously. Not sure if we're going to be traded tomorrow myself because of obvious other work and businesses, but let's get on this slap on chart. Boom. So the teal levels right here, this is what we called in chat, 444.69 was our over under. If we opened above the 50, right, above it, gapped and goed, we opened directly on it, right, directly to the penny. That was a pin. Algos love pinning this stuff on us. 50 SMA right there. And our huge over under 444.69. That was a beautiful back test as well as we came back down to the gap fill, hit into there, and that was the decision making that it was trying to do. Let's go to the 1 minute. You can see it a little bit more, as well as we were following these 1 minute trade scalps. And what I did was I took a very interesting doji up here. You're going to see this Fibonacci right here, and I'll get into that next. But look at this 1 minute real quick. 200 SMA beauty, algo, resistance, break, yesterday's highs, pop play, and I told everybody right here to get out. It's to take all your profits long, wait for the next long setup, because we need to hold above 444.69. That was our over-under level to go higher. If we broke it, no big deal. It's going straight down, and this is why. So this is the 0% Fibonacci. It's the top. So if I go to the weekly chart right here, this is the last week's body, okay? Here it is, big old fat weekly engulfing, right? And with this Fibonacci right here, if we do not maintain above that body for higher to come back into trend or to the 450s or to a lower high up by the gap that we wanted, it is instant bias swap. So you are trapped back inside this weekly candle body. So once you lost the 0% fib here, you walked it down, boom, 2360, boom, 3820, boom, 50, boom. And you can see intraday here how these levels worked out with hesitations and no hesitations, okay? So that's where I got that weekly Fibonacci. We love engulfing. So once we lost right here into the zero, wash this, pop, consolidation. This is the next weekly fib right here. Drowned it, consolidation, next weekly fib right here. Drowned it, big pop finally, and drowned it back to the bottom 7860. Now, of course, once we fall back inside the range of the weekly, we are subject to filling up that whole candle. And lo and behold, what's the bottom of the day? To the penny, weekly bottom candle. So here's the body of that candle, 100% fib to the penny tag, okay? So let's talk about how the rollover was activated here in the oscillation indicators here. We'll start at the 5 minute and 30-30, okay? So the Fibonacci's on the weekly are gonna take precedent here, support resistance. That's going to be huge indefinitely. Once we get under the 50 SMA daily, that takes precedent, okay? Intraday indicators get trumped by long-standing time frame, moving averages, gaps, Fibonacci's, okay? This is just for entry, exit, intraday. Global scale of long-standing time frames do give us better trade management than intraday is going to, right? So 5 minute chart. This is a biggie right here for this morning as we've seen this not holding our level, okay? So oscillation, from here, right at the open, we popped into, and we're going to go to futures after this, so stay tuned, broke to the bottom channel. Now we're in the bottom channel of our oscillators, okay? Oscillation into the bottom channel is bad because if it fails the zero line, we're heading down. So the oscillation on the MAC was a good cross, failed the zero line, that is bearish down. Buy sell wave right here. The height of these waves matter on TTM. So when you highlight the sell wave, you look at a 63.4 height, and you look at a buyer wave after it that only runs 59.4. You'll be able to see on the indicator the height of the waves. This sell wave in the red is higher than this buy wave. It is smaller. So sellers are in control in oscillation, okay? So after this little cool, and this is that 30-minute doji that was extremely interesting for the short. Once it failed that doji low right here, that Fibonacci had room to go to 1618, 2618, and further. So that's another reason that we took that short on top. So oscillation indicators were key there, okay? Broke down to the bottom, and we stayed the whole time in pre. Look at this little breakover right here. You think that's bullish? Look at time spent in lower channel, time spent in lower channel, right? And then, of course, again, this is on the center and barely time spent. So we had way more time on the bottom side of the RSI. TTM waves have full sellers in control. Same with MAC. It crossed and confirmed at the zero level, went down. All oscillation is working for us bearish here. Let's take a peek at the volume. If you zoom in really close, right here we had sellers in control for the first dump right here as well. So just I'm catalyst stacking. I'm getting all the catalysts together that we need and how we trade with multiple time frames, multiple catalysts, stacking bearish versus bullish. Now another one right here, this does calculate a little bit quicker, but the standard deviation +1 downtrend, we usually do not see ourselves, and this is way more important at the Fibonacci, but we do not see ourselves over +1 or -1 in the 30-30 for any way, shape, or form. The RSI on the 30 let go right at the open bottom channel as well. So let's take a peek at this volume. Again, longer standing time frame. This trumps the 5. Shrinky. Ooh. That was supposed to be auto zoom, not auto arrange. There we go. Bam. Well, I can't get the candles taller on the 30-30. But in pre-market from right here at 6 a.m., you had red. All these candles right here on the 30-30 are all stacked volume pre-market. So you have volume beats right here. So all that seller volume coming in hot. And again, it was all eyes on NVIDIA. So all the 5 minute turning around. One last but not least, I did not mention on my notes here, just seen 50-100 cross. Okay, we love when the 50 SMA crosses through the 100 EMA. That is a bearish signal. Here's your 50 in the red. Here's your cross. Red under, 100 EMA above. And that is also a bearish sentiment, especially with that algo. So when we had a boom, lower high, all context of all shorts, That was guaranteed bye-bye. If we were above 4469, that squeeze out could continue. We have no idea what was going to happen on the algo, but we found the break, the back test, the no confirmation hold, and wiped out. It was game over from there. We're going to walk it down the whole day. Obviously didn't expect this kind of crazy, but let's go over the last couple catalysts before we jump into futures. The volatility index, VIX, left two very important gaps from yesterday, okay? Here's another thing that we said in the morning for catalyst stacking. VIX is at mass support. Here's the -1 5-day deviation. That is big support for the VIX. What do you see on your oscillation? Higher low, higher low, higher high, all oscillations. Same with the MAC. And then right here, no sell wave taken off at the open. So all 1, 2, 3 working bullish for the VIX and volatility index, chasing down the two gaps it left yesterday. And we said if it gets over that $16 range right here, that trend line, she's going to break back up and go chase down the gaps even today. And look what it did. Chase down both gaps. Boom, boom, right at the end. So those two gaps are now filled. And we're going to see what it brings. Now, ES, this is another thing overnight we've seen. I did want to bring in this one too. And this is the same systems that I use here on SPY. So let's take a look at the weekly. We're going to look at the prior candle. This is identical to what we just did, because we have tons of bearish oscillation here. Moving average here. So what do we got? Let's take a peek. Again, same thing. Here, 10 SMA, weekly, huge resistance pointing down. Body, last week's body. Same thing we just went over on SPY. Let's take a peek what it looks like overnight. And overnight was also giving you some signals here. Let's go to the 5 minute. Look where the top of that weekly hit. Here's the body of the candle to the penny. That's that weekly body, okay? Once we fell inside that and lost the golden 2360, anything over under the golden 2360, that was going to be mass panic. Now, what do we know about standard deviation as well? Let's look at the 5-day, 5 minute. We do not spend time above or below the +1 very often. If we are, we sure as heck do not make it to the top side very often. So we came to half deviation in between +1 and +2. We have these dashed lines right here, and that's right in between. That's 1.5. So that was also a really good roll resistance confirmation right here, where it popped up, hit it, lost both regression trends here, weekly, daily, and walked itself down. So let's take a look at that walk all the way down to obviously the exact same body of the weekly, right to the bottom. No back test of the 10 SMA, complete wash, and we did miss the 50 SMA by a little bit. Of course, futures are going to be off 10 to 1 on SPY. But those are all the catalysts. And you can see the oscillations here too. All the catalysts that pertain to this move. Now, where's the futures going to go? Well, pretty easy. We have that giant gap we were talking about, right? That we never filled. Right here. Futures contract gap. So this is our target. It was either VIX or futures filling the gap. VIX did not fill the gap. It went up today. Futures scammed everybody 4 days ago, right here. So if you come into that no tag, it tagged the top of this gap, no filled it, pressed all the way back up, found resistance near the 50, regression trend under the 10, wiped out. Now we have a full mother candle, most likely tomorrow, on SPY, engulfing all of the prior day's price action. So we're going to fib out that one. But this was all the catalysts we've seen. So RSI, oscillation, everything was giving you hints right here on the 5-day, 5 minute as well. Let me get rid of some of these. We'll go through the oscillations real fast here. And notice at those peaks, RSI, lower high, lower high, lower high, boom, lower low break into the bottom channel, right? And then stuck to the bottom channel all day. There was no relative divergence of any way, shape, or form going long at all. This is a beautiful algo cell that got attached to the 1 minute 10 SMA. Look at this. It's just a beauty. Just stuck right to her all the way back down, washed all levels, complete manipulation of algos. We see this all the time. And last but not least, NVIDIA. Huge short opportunity. I'll show where the cracks came in. Again, this is literally just an oscillation play, profit take play, and gap play. So I love gaps. That is my number one reason of being. So when this gapped up again here, I figured, well, that's definitely going to fall no matter what. There's no way that's going to be left open for a few reasons. Now, deviation-wise, we were at the, let's go 5-day, 5 minute. Really like to start here. Then we'll go to the 30-30. Again, we don't get outside of the +1, +2 very often. So we've seen, again, half deviation right here coming in. Here's 2. Here's 1, came down to regression trend and chased down the -1. So let's look at our oscillations first, the 30-30, because I do want to show you what I seen and why I shorted such a fat amount in the pre and out of the gate under the 50. We'll go over that. 30-30 lost the 10 SMA, put in a perfect confirmation, okay? So here's the crack, boom, comes down to the gap, pushes and fails. And I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. I'll show you in the 5 minute where my entry was. This broke down, but look at instead of the RSI, not only do we have a high right here, obviously in the earnings push, then a lower high here in the pre-market. We've seen it come in. The MAC had crossed right here downside. TTM has been on the downside. There is nothing here, guys. There's zero chance that this is going up with this oscillation right here. This just was not. So we called this short, even for our StockTwit friends, all the way down to 385. So we did post that, or 45. We did post that, and it did go further, right? So let's take a peek at the entry. For my system, we have a moving average system where price action will break through 50. It'll hit the 100 EMA. It'll retest the 50 before it drops and snaps the 100 EMA and continues down. Hence, you just seen this on the SPY daily chart. This moving average play plays out time and time and time again. These are very, 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 very keen moving average plays. Now, I could go back and find a few other instances of this happening, but I haven't tracked down too much volatile moves. Tesla might have one. But when we get these tags of the 50 and 100 crosses, that's another one right there. These do very well. I'm not going to drag out the video on those. We'll do a moving average lesson here soon, but that is a very articulate move that these love to do. So off the 100 EMA, I shorted the 50 rejection because I knew, well, all oscillations, again, bottom side of the channel on NVIDIA. We are seller controlled on TTM. We are crossed to the downside, and we've had all the bearish crashes since open. No brainer short. And obviously in the state of all of our, country being absolutely in turmoil right now, NVIDIA just wasn't going to save the whole stock market. So that is it for today. What a beautiful recap. Beautiful, beautiful day. Huge home run day. We haven't had one of these in a long time. And that is it. I will catch you guys on the next.